Welcome to Physics for Good. Since the last time we were together, I have become Dr. Allison Bowley, but that is actually not the reason for the delay in videos. So, January of last year, 2019, I came down with what I thought was the stomach flu until it became very apparent that it was not the stomach flu. So, one nurse practitioner, two naturopaths, two gynecologists, one gastroenterologist, two ultrasounds, one CT, one MRI, I might be forgetting something, and 5 months later I was diagnosed with endometriosis, which, as I've interacted with online patient groups, I have discovered that's actually a really short time to be diagnosed, if you discount the decades that I had it and didn't realize it, though in hindsight I probably should have realized something. But I had surgery in July of last year, and what took the longest to recover, not from surgery but from the initial onset of symptoms, was my energy. So that's where I've been. But that experience has really given me a teeny tiny bit of insight to how healthcare for women is in many ways upside down. And we are going to come back to that, but today, because it is Physics for Good, I want to talk about upside down images. So we all know what this tool is and how to use it, but what if I don't want to magnify something? What if instead I want to see something upside down? It's really easy. All you have to do is just look at something far away. What's really cool is we could have predicted this based on ray diagrams we've been drawing in the previous videos. This arrow, we remember, represents the object, the actual thing we're looking at. And as long as the object is outside of the focal point, then the image, which we remember is formed where light rays intersect, is going to be upside down. Notice how in all of these, the object arrow is pointing up, but the image that's formed, that arrow is pointing down. So what happens if we bring the object inside the focal distance? Well, then we have to draw our rays a little bit differently, and that's beyond the scope of these videos. But notice these are the real rays, and these rays are never going to actually intersect. But if we backtrace them, so to speak, they appear to intersect behind the lens. And so we can draw our image there, and that image is magnified, and that image is right side up. This is what normally happens when you use a magnifying glass the way we've all been taught. Now, I've been saying upside down, but I really should be using the terminology in the title of this video, which is inverted. And instead of saying right side up, I should be saying not inverted. And that's because what if my object is upside down to begin with? Well then, if I look at it far away through a magnifying glass, the image actually flips right side up, but it's still inverted. And so using the terms inverted and non-inverted allows us to be precise regardless of the orientation of the object. In fact, the only thing in this video that I'm going to call objectively upside down is some aspects of women's healthcare, both here and around the world. Which brings me to my friends at BloodWater, who take the funds raised by Drums for Toilets and pass them along to organizations in Africa to build latrines. Obviously, they do way more than that, but I'll let Mindy tell you.
BloodWater is a nonprofit organization that works to address the water and HIV/AIDS crises in sub-Saharan Africa. And we do this by partnering with African grassroots organizations who are working in the fields of HIV and WASH. And WASH stands for Water, Sanitation, and Hygiene. Now, one aspect of our work that I'm going to be diving into in more detail today is menstrual hygiene management. Now, gender inequality, discrimination, cultural taboos, and poverty all contribute to the needs of many women and girls going unmet, which is why menstrual hygiene management support is so important. To illustrate this, 1 in 10 girls in sub-Saharan Africa miss school during their periods, which can add up to as much as 20% 50% of the school year. And this is due to a lack of access to hygiene materials such as pads, and also because of the social stigma that girls experience around periods. Now, BloodWater's partners are doing incredible work in the field to help solve these issues. First, they conduct menstrual hygiene management education in schools, not only educating girls, but actually also educating boys. And this is key because a lack of period knowledge often leads to boys bullying girls and perpetuating stigma. So including them in this education as well helps to alleviate girls' feelings of shame, embarrassment, and isolation. And second, some of our partners are teaching girls to make reusable sanitary pads in order to increase their access to cost-effective hygiene materials. So for our demonstration today, we thought it would be appropriate to teach everyone how to make reusable pads. So now I'll be turning it over to Liz.
So what we're going to do today is we're going to take a lady's undergarment and we're going to trace the design, because we're going to pretend that we don't have access to a pad to use as a pattern. So the cool thing about this is if you use your own, you can make sure that the pad will fit relatively well within your undergarment. So I'm going to just take a little Sharpie here, trace around the edges. I'm actually going to do this in 2 steps. So first I'm going to trace around the edge and make kind of an hourglass shape.
Okay.
Then we want to make a because they're not going to be sticky. We want to make a flap to go around and overlap because we're going to put Velcro to hold it in place. So once you made your little hourglass shape, I'm sorry, you can't even see that on the pattern of the fabric that I had. But once you've drawn your hourglass shape, from the middle, draw 2 little diagonal lines, although not too little because they have to cross over the space in the middle and overlap.
And a Sharpie is the one thing I forgot. I'll be right back.
So once you do that, you can cut that out, and you want at least 2 layers. And then you'll take one of those and you need a plastic layer. So you'll do the same thing. You'll take one of those pieces on your plastic layer, whatever you're using, draw around it. Now, plastic can be very slippery, so you may want to pin it in place. Something else that wasn't included in the instructions, but I feel like they probably do and probably would be a really great option, is if you have fabric scraps or additional pieces, you can always set them on the side because, of course, we know that no 2 women's cycles are alike. And if you wanted to, for some extra absorption, you could stick a few scraps inside. So you can start building your menstrual pad. You put a layer of fabric on the bottom. And then your plastic layer in the middle. And then again, if you wanted to set in any additional fabric just for extra absorption,
Right.
you could do that. You probably don't want to do too much just because it's going to add to the thickness. And
Right.
so you got to think about your skin and how it's going to feel. So you don't want it to be too thick and uncomfortable. You know, something that you can wear for a while.
Sure.
So then you put your 3rd layer on top. So then you're just going to start making a little kind of a whip stitch, if you will, hem, where you put your needle through one side and then pull the thread through, wrap it around, and do the same thing. Put your next stitch in right next to it. This is the part that takes the longest.
Yeah.
Really not difficult.
So would you say that they have the vision and then you come along and make sure that they have the financial resources and stuff to implement it?
Exactly.
There's financial resources, but there's also capacity resources. So we, as an organization, also provide something called organizational strengthening. It's just so amazing, the work that our partners do. And the most valuable thing we can do is support them in that, not try to take it over.
Yeah. So our goal as an organization is to build up these local organizations that are already strong, but build them up to the point where by the time that our partnership with them is complete, they honestly don't really need us anymore because they are able to find their own sources of funding. And our hope is for BloodWater to leave a legacy of all of these really strong local organizations that are doing amazing work.
That's awesome.
You can let me know when you're ready to pick up the next part.
Oh, this is going to take me hours. You can just keep going.
Okay. So after we've put a hem around the edge of our menstrual pad here, you want to pay attention to which layer is the one that's right next to your plastic. So for me, the inside layer, I put a little extra padding in here, but this is the side that backs right up against the plastic. So this is the side that's going to go down against the undergarment. So what you're going to do is you're going to flip your pad over. Now you're going to take a little piece of Velcro. What we had in our house today was industrial Velcro. So that's excellent. So you're just going to take a little piece. It does not have to be big. In some communities, they'll use snaps. Again, it's depending on what they have available.
Right. Okay.
So I stuck the one piece on. I should have taken these apart before I stuck it on. So I'm going to now, that one piece there, I'm just going to take the four corners and make sure that they're good and tight. So I'm going to just do a couple of stitches through those corners. Then you want to put your other piece of Velcro that's not stuck yet. You want to put that right to the top of the piece that's already in place. And then fold your flaps, your wings, so to speak, together and press it in place to the adhesive.
Yours came out much better than mine, but that's okay. And then how can people support this work besides just watching this video?
It'd be awesome. Anyone who's watching this and would like to contribute to the work, please head over to our website. It's just bloodwater.org, bloodwater spelled normally, .org, and you can click the donate button. And the funds that you guys donate will go to our local partners on the ground doing this work.
Thanks for watching. If you like what you just saw, please consider subscribing right here and sharing the video with a friend. Also, check out the video description where you'll find a link to the charity you just saw, as well as some affiliate links.